Welcome everyone. We're here today and very happy to be here to confirm that Garry Hocking has been appointed coach of the Port Adelaide Magpies. This was a disproportionately important appointment for the club, given all the structural reform that we've gone through in the last, well, it's taken us virtually all year to get it into the position it's in. Firstly, there are some unique elements about this role for Port Adelaide, which Garry will have to embrace, and I'm sure that he's up for that challenge. Firstly, it's the first Port Adelaide Magpies coach who will have to embrace the dual responsibility of winning SANFL premierships and supporting the development of AFL players for the club. And I think even more importantly, it's the first time that we've had a fully integrated coaching structure. And Garry will be the central figure in that structure, which means that he will operate both at the SANFL level with the Magpies, operating with Ken Hinkley with the Power and with the academy side. So he will actually operate across all three sides, which is a heavy responsibility. Why do we pick Garry? Well, he's a legend of the game, and he brings enormous credibility to us and to the club and to the side. He's a very experienced coach in his own right, and his record has been given to you, and you can see that. He has an intimate knowledge of the Port Adelaide coaching philosophy, and part of the success of this program will be around our ability to embrace the one coaching approach through all levels of our club. I think that's going to be crucial. And he's an absolutely fierce competitor, which is central to our aim to create a winning culture throughout the whole club, which is synonymous with Port Adelaide. So for us, as a club, we feel it's a wonderful appointment. Brings enormous credibility to the role, and we're very pleased to welcome him to that position. I'd just like to make a comment around Ken McGregor. Now, Ken was the previous coach of the Magpies. Did a terrific job in his first year last year. I had a chat to Ken and said to him that we felt that perhaps his experience for this bigger role wasn't quite there yet, which he fully accepted. We made an offer for him to coach the academy side in a full-time capacity, and he wasn't able to do that. So Ken leaves with our thanks, on great terms with the footy club, and he'll continue on with his career in journalism and find another role in footy, which is probably of a part-time nature, I imagine. So that's the announcement. I don't know if you want to say something, Garry, or if you want to just throw to questions, but that's the setup.
Garry, was there anything in particular that attracted you to the role?
Well, I guess initially I didn't think that, like halfway during this year, with the way that the side, went in regards to the AFL side, that being a forwards coach under Ken and Alan and here at Port Adelaide, that I'd be certainly in this role. It's something that had bobbed up over the past few weeks, and the club sort of come to me and asked me would I be interested in taking this role, and certainly once we sort of sat down and had a bit of a chat about it, I was really excited about the challenge ahead and being able to coach my own side again, which I've done, as Keith pointed out before. I've had development sides in the past, and this really struck a chord with me, and something that I've always really enjoyed is making sure that teams are really competitive, very professional off the field, and making sure that you're pushing players to be their best and to be drafted.
Some people would say that you can't actually coach a team in your own right and actually an answer to another master up in the AFL? How are you going to manage that?
That's a great question, but myself and Ken have a really good relationship, and once the side's settled, there's no doubt that all that's been discussed that I'll have right away. Certainly in regards to players' positioning and that sort of thing, it'll be all discussed during the week. But come match day, I'll be certainly the person in charge.
Are you aware though that you will have to? There might be times in a game where what Port Power wants is not what is best for Port Magpie.
Oh, look, there's certainly going to be those situations, but again, I think my experience in regards to coaching and my knowledge of the group, certainly, I'll be able to make those calls as they come. I'll be able to have planning as we go into the game in regards to, players where they're supposed to be played in their best position to offer the best development for them, and also to play them in the best positions for us to be really competitive. So there'll be that flexibility for me to be able to make those calls come match day.
Do you think those conflicts might be more of a selection thing rather than a match day thing?
No, not really. We've had issues this year where we've had really robust discussion about certain players playing positions, and the team that we have now, is one that we just throw stuff on the table, and we want the best thing for the AFL side and also now for the SANFL side.
Will this change any of your AFL duties or anything like that?
No, well, obviously I'll be coaching the Magpies team, but I'll certainly be heavily aligned with the AFL structure and be at all the training sessions, and nothing will basically change there, yeah.
So will you act as forward coach still as well as coach of the Magpies?
No, I won't be doing the forwards role. That'll be thrown over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Tyson Edwards will play that role.
I assume you know some blokes from the VFL that do a similar role coaching VFL teams that have AFL affiliated. Did you sound out anyone about sort of the dual role of balance there?
No, but I've certainly got intimate knowledge of Geelong's structure with Matthew Knights and what he's able to do there, and Box Hill this year under Hawthorn, been quite successful. And so when I was coaching the TAC back at the Geelong Falcons, I certainly had intimate knowledge of what Geelong were doing and the structure, and it was very important back then that we ran the Geelong Falcons program like a mini AFL setup. So all the training, the professionalism, all those sort of things come hand in hand, and we're able to concentrate on the balance of winning, getting the teams in the finals and chasing premiership success, but also the point of making sure that we had people drafted as well.
You've pointedly, obviously, named the two sides that are in the VFL Grand Final, but where are you expecting in terms of performance next year to finish? I mean, you'll aim for a premiership, but have you got a realistic shot? No,
I haven't yet. I mean, it's just it's something that you work out as you go along. You try and have a look at the landscape, but certainly the one point we'll want try and be is very, very competitive on field, and it's very important that our players are very professional off it.
So Garry, what's it do to your aspiration?
Oh, it does a lot, I think. Like I said at the start, I didn't think that I was going to be sitting in this position, halfway during the year when the team was playing so well, and the forwards were, firing and doing some great stuff. But I've really enjoyed coaching my own sides, and again, when the club did speak to me about this role, I mean, I'm very humbled that the club would consider me to be the person to be able to, go forward with this new concept and this new team. So that was very humbling for myself, but also I still think that there's stepping stones that I need to take in regards to the aspirations of being a senior coach one day, and I think this is just another really important step for me.
So that's still on your cards to be an AFL?
Yeah, it's still on the radar, Rich, yes.
And this is the best thing for you in terms of getting to that goal, do you reckon?
Well, I think so. I mean, you keep a constant eye on what's happening on the AFL coaching landscape, and I know Alan, has had the opportunity to go for a few jobs. Ken Hinckley's another one that's coached his own teams and been able to come into an AFL environment and how busy and how tough it is, and the challenges that you do face. You certainly need that experience to have your own teams, and I just see this as just another step for me to maybe polish a few edges and maybe a few rough spots, that type of thing, and make sure that I continue to push what the club wants, and also to try and advance my career as well.
Garry, on the title of Final Call, the selection on game day, who's going to have it? You or Ken Hinckley?
I will.
Alan? I remember when you came to the club, you said you didn't want to be a senior coach anymore. I'm happy with the director of coaching. Is that still the same?
Yeah, no, absolutely the same.
Have you had offers recently to step back into, or to step into senior coaching?
No, look, there's certainly been some conversations about whether I'd be interested in applying for those roles. Certainly no job offers, but no, really pleased with what I'm doing here. I would like to just, from the director of coaching position here, just perhaps comment on why Garry from our perspective. And you only had to be, Rich, I know you were at our presentation night, to see the accolades that Garry received from many of the guys that got up there that had outstanding years, like Westhoff and Wingard, that predominantly played forward. But so strong were we in terms of we're going to win a flag based on the way we develop. And we need, whether they be SANFL players or AFL players, we need to create an environment where they can be as good as they can be. And Garry's his record, but probably even more importantly, his want to win, his strength of character. We need the young guys or experienced guys that play in that team to be coached really strongly. And so weighing that up, given he'd done such a fantastic job for our AFL program, he needs to play that similar role for us now, and we think he's fantastic for that position.
You said Tyson steps up to the forwards role. Have you got a new development coach?
Well, Garry will be heavily involved in development. The question before about what will Garry do with the AFL program, if you come along to our training, it won't look any different really. Garry will still be very heavily involved. He did our forwards and our ball movement. He was in charge of offence, and he'll support Tyson. Tyson's not an overly experienced line coach, so Garry will support Tyson, but he'll also be very involved in the way that we move the ball in offence, and you'll see that at training.
Keith, what are the looks from having Ken McGregor move on? Is this pretty well the confirmation that the Magpies have lost their independence?
Yeah,
How are you going to deal with this now, particularly after trying to preserve what the Magpies are and what they stand for?
Yeah, I don't buy that argument. I understand the sentiment. The way that I look at it is that the Port Adelaide Football Club has changed fundamentally as a result of the new structure. We accept that, and it'll be a new look going forward. What we've done and what we will do over the next 2 or 3 weeks is put in place the strongest coaching lineup that we can muster to ensure that every Port Adelaide player that enters our system gets the best opportunity to play winning football and develop their career the best they possibly can. And we will have an integrated coaching structure which applies the highest standards right throughout the club. That's the new Port Adelaide. And I think it's an incredibly exciting opportunity. We would have liked Ken McGregor to be part of that. He wasn't able to be, and we accept that. But we will move forward very confidently in this direction.
Keith, how big was the pool of serious candidates for Garry's position?
Well, we know that there are a lot of coaching jobs at the SANFL level going, so there are a lot of people circulating around for those roles. But to be perfectly honest, we knew that Garry was in our mix. We went to him. I wasn't 100% sure whether he would do it. We were thrilled that he would, and we think he's the strongest candidate available to us.
Sound out other people?
Not in any meaningful way. I was just very aware of who was circulating around.
Garry, you're going to be handed the bulk of your list. That excess that you need, what we call those top-up players, what's going to be your philosophy on those?
An opportunity to get as many people in. We've obviously need to field 2 sides, so there'll be the SANFL side and also the academy side. So, we'll need to speak to the previous players and see who's keen to hang around and advance their career, hopefully underneath the program. So there's still some work to be done in meeting with those people as well as staff that coexist from this year. So there's that work to be done.
In 2014, our junior structures are retained, and we will be, and virtually it's a status quo scenario other than the fact that we've changed the coaching structure. And so our first priority with the playing pool is to make sure that everyone in our system currently and coming through our system is aware of how the new program looks and where the opportunities lie for them. From 2015 onwards, it becomes a different scenario because our junior structure will be dismantled, and we will then create through next year invitational academies, training academies, to become familiar with the Port Adelaide Footy Club, with the view to inviting them into that academy side over time. Now, we think that the existing pool of Port Adelaide players will sustain that for 2, 3, 4 years. And then the task becomes, to maintain relationships in our zone, to look beyond our zone at opportunities for players to enter the club. And we think that by then, the program will stand up as an elite football development program that people will want to come to. And we think that'll take care of itself.
Alan, positive start to free agency report?
Yeah, no, we're really pleased. You're obviously referring to Matty White. Yeah, no, he's a player that we'd spoken to and had followed for a while. He's a guy that really complements what we're trying to do. He's, from an age perspective, he fits where we're heading in terms of when we think we're a chance to be really successful. So he's an important player, and I think he really add to us.
Alan, I dare say he'd be looking for moving for opportunity. Are you confident he can be a part of the 21? He's obviously had a lot of vest this season. Yeah,
no, he certainly played sub a bit. Oh, no, I think it's fair to say that the back end of his career, or his year, I should say, at the Tigers was really quite influential. Won their most improved award. So, no, we think he'll be very much part of our 18, 21. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think you've got the upper hand on Pilot now? Because you've got that second round draft pick that you can offer to Brisbane?
Look, you never really know, Michael Ansley. I'm not sure. He clearly wants to play in Adelaide. We think he's a guy a player that of enormous talent. He hasn't quite been able to achieve the standards that I'm sure he would want to have reached, given how talented he is. We would like him to be involved in our organisation. Adelaide are obviously keen to do so. We don't know what they're trying to do to make it work, but we're reasonably confident that we've done as much as we can. And if it is that he chooses us, we think it's a great fit.
What's your last discussion with him? He's sitting on where
No, he's keen to come. It's I'd imagine that if it went either way, he'd be okay. He wants to play in Adelaide. He's got reasonably close friends at the Adelaide Footy Club. He's in terms of the feedback he's given us, he's been impressed with what we've shown him here. He's met a few of our guys as well. He knows a few of our players, not unlike the Adelaide situation, but it basically now come down to the deal that each club can do with the Brisbane Footy Club.
You're confident he's right physically?
Yes, we are, yeah. No, he's in good shape.
What else do you need?
Look, our improvement will come from the list that we have, there's no doubt about that. And so if a big power tall forward jumped out of the trees somewhere, then we'd certainly look at that. That's really unlikely. No, we're pretty comfortable with where we're at.
Rule out Potsy Utley then, too old?
I'm pretty sure Ken ruled him out. I can't remember exactly the press conference at Telstra Dome the other day, but he's not really in the direction. We think he's probably still got a couple of years left, but no, we're 26, 27 is probably as old as we'll go.
To use your metaphor there, Alan, about jumping out of the trees, do you reckon he'd shake one out of the tree?
No, it's unlikely. Certainly, Jason Cripps does an enormous amount of work, speaks to a lot of people. Obviously, officially, trade work hasn't quite started yet, but he's done an enormous amount of work, and it's looking unlikely. It looks like, and that's why the press conference we're having today is so important. Mason Shaw only played a handful of senior games this year. We need to create an environment where we expedite the progress of these guys, and we see this as a fantastic opportunity to do that.
If Pollock becomes the next target, what else can an AFL club tempt you with once you do the walk around on Monday?
That's who knows. I mean, there's no doubt that things happen that you haven't quite planned for. But at this stage, look, we certainly go to all those meetings with every club. That's basically how it works. You rotate through the clubs. You've analysed their list. You obviously have a real understanding of your needs. And if something popped up, then we go with an open mind. But philosophically, we're about development. We're about maintaining our first round draft pick, and doing whatever we can to make the players on our list better, and anyone that we bring into our club through the draft as good as they can be.
So it's not going to be a busy one for you then?
I wouldn't think so, no.
Alan, just quickly back to the SANFL. You said that Garry will be at training and regular part of training, and of course most of the players are going to be in that side will be at training as well. But how many times have you thought through how many times the SANFL group will get trained separately together with the top-ups and all that?
So just the SNFL squad, or with the AFL guys that would play that week? Yeah.
What I'm saying is the team that Garry gets,
Yep.
ultimately, how many times a week do they actually get a chance to be together?
That'll be a really similar program to what they would have done all year. So we appreciate they either study or work during the day. They're not full-time athletes. So it'll be similar. I'm probably speaking for Garry here, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that would be the look.
How many would you have, Keith? How many extras would you have?
We haven't worked that out, but I would have thought that we would be looking at an additional list of 30, 35 to 50. It could be as many as that. We'll refine that. The process we've gone through with the playing group, the existing playing group thus far, is to speak to them all individually and as a group to let them know what the system is and what the rules are around it and how that applies to them. We've asked them to digest that and think about it. We'll meet them again tonight to introduce them to Garry and to introduce them to the program that they will be coming into, which will be significantly different than they're used to. And then Garry and his team will go about formulating that broader list. And I would think that it'll start at 50 and it'll prune back. But I think that the philosophy that we're driving here is that any player stepping into the Port Adelaide system is going to get access to its facilities and its coaching expertise and the Port Adelaide way of doing business, if you like, from the moment they step in. And that is something that we've not been able to do in the past. And I think it is a really significant positive for the footy club. And that'll start tonight. Now, not everyone of the current group will be able to, will choose to want to play under the circumstances that have been sort of provided. We understand that. But what we know is that those that do choose to work in this system will be doing it for the right reasons. They'll be doing it to advance their football careers for Port Adelaide. We've been really heartened by the conversations thus far. They won't be playing for money. They will be playing for the opportunity to play for Port Adelaide and to advance. And I think that's a great position to start from.
And those who want out, what's going to be their process?
So the rule is that they will be granted transfers out at 50% of the normal rate, but we'll take that on a case-by-case basis. I think it would be grossly unfair for us to be making it difficult for players to move their careers given the situation we're in. So we will be very open to any conversation we have there.
Could you just quickly confirm what has been offered, the offer with Light?
I'll leave that to Peter Rowe. Peter Rowe discusses the details. But as a club, I'm not sure that we've ever discussed length of contracts or certainly terms, but
it's unlikely. So that would be Peter. We'll do that. This is about Garry, and we'll do that at another time.
Garry, how long do you reckon you could do that before you'd have to make that next step?
Well, I've done 6 years on my own as a coach. I've been a development coach here in 2010. You've probably got all the stuff. The last couple of years as a line coach. Look, I'm step by step for me. Sink my teeth into the program. Get to talk to a lot of people. Keith has talked about the players that we have to talk to. The staff that are still there. So there's still a lot to be able to do. I'm thinking 1 to 2 years, 3 years. I'm not quite sure, Rich. It's hard to put a figure on it, but I'm just really excited about the opportunity.
I love the idea that Garry and I have been very from the time we spoke back at the caretaker role at the end of 2012 about Garry's aspirations to be a coach, and I was really impressed with how he took the side in that month or 5 weeks, and I think that the danger you have in football, if you're not close to the cutting edge of the game for a period of time, is that you lose track very quickly. The beauty of this situation is that Garry will be right amongst it. So I think that there is a wonderful opportunity, and as a CEO, I love the idea of our people wanting to progress their careers and being attractive to other clubs if that were to occur. I love even better when they decide that they want to stay, and in these two guys we've got that, and I think that's a reflection of the club and what we're trying to do.
The other important appointment is your captain. Is it better to have a captain who's not going to be called up for the AFL? So he's there every week, doesn't have the issues of worrying about playing for the Power?
Well, we haven't discussed that, Rich, in regards to who's going to be captain, whether it's...
You've seen those other models because you've worked with them for so long.
Yeah, look, the TSC, we rotated because it was great experience for our players to be able to share the leadership on the day and toss the coin, talk to the players at quarter time, half time, help out with any leadership roles that are on the day. So again, that might be something that we look at, just rotating it for pure experience for the players.
How do you feel about that, Keith? It is quite a status symbol to be.
It is, yeah. No, I think we'd need to consider that really carefully. We haven't even discussed it. I hadn't thought about it, but it is symbolically very important to the Port Adelaide Magpies, that role, and always has been, and we need to be conscious of that. So to be honest, we need to give that some real thought.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.